We love hip hop.
Six Tails did an amazing breakdown video on the Brianna Warner case. RIP to Aveboy SK. One thing that I like about these guys, and sometimes people be wondering, yo, these guys must be police, because how the hell do you get that much information? I think they just do the most research out of a lot of us content creators, myself included. Okay? Because even with the interview that I had, I made sure that as soon as I locked in that interview with the juror, and his name is Michael Camage, okay, big salute to Michael Camage. As soon as I locked in that interview with the juror, before I even published it, I hit him up behind the scenes, him being Six Tails, and I said, bro, I interviewed this juror guy. I have it loaded. I'm dropping it in a few days. You might want to watch that video if you're going to be making a video on this case. Because I didn't even know if he was making a video. I just know in my mind, that's where his mind usually would probably go as far as a good video to make. And I said, yo, bro, don't wrap your video before you check out my interview, because it's going to help to bring some of the pieces together. And I thought I was doing some shit. I'm like, yeah, bro, I got the juror. This guy, Six Tails, made the video and still dropped information that I had no idea of. So let's pull it up here. I don't know how the fuck he finds this shit out, bro. That man has somebody on the inside, bro. So let's get to it. The Tales of Toronto, the tragic story of Aveboy SK.
18-year-old Brianna Warner carried out her plan to lure 20-year-old Jay Parker Ford, also known by his rap name Aveboy SK, out of his family's Lawrence Avenue apartment before shooting him dead on December 16th, 2022. That audio recording was played in court. Warner can be heard yelling at her mom, "Remember when you asked me who shot that guy in the head? I did that. I have anger issues, so leave me the F alone."
Our apartment. Free Gennaro, free Ing.
Go just die, get it back in blood. Get back. Go get it back in blood. Yeah, chains I took, get it back in blood. Get back. Go get it back in blood. You're blocked so desperate, acting up. Why you acting up?
Aveboy SK, born Jai Parker Ford, was a rising rapper from Orton Park whose name carried weight in his neighborhood long before his story made headlines. He wasn't.
So I'm going to skip the intro as far as like himself, but actually no, let's just play it.
A mainstream artist, but in the East End of Toronto, he was recognized for his association and the circle he moved with. But what most people didn't know was that SK had a past connection with a girl he once trusted, a connection that would later become the key to how he was set up and ultimately killed. Her involvement wasn't rumored, it was confirmed in her own recorded words, and the fallout from that setup spread quickly across the city. Tracks released by rival gang members, like Mrs. Backdoor, began surfacing online, hinting that SK had been betrayed from the inside, and fueling speculation that his death wasn't random, but orchestrated. What followed wasn't just
Mrs. Backdoor was one of the songs that was a thing back then, or not back then, because it's not even that long ago. Mrs. Backdoor, implying that like she's the one who opened the back door for the man them to come and shoot this nigga. Like, that didn't happen. That did not happen. You know what I'm saying? So just even that song alone, cap. That's crazy.
Another Toronto homicide. It was a case involving an undercover sting, secretly recorded confessions, and a motive rooted in a past SK likely thought was long behind him.
You can see the forensics truck parked outside this apartment building here at 3950 Lawrence Avenue East in Scarborough, where the shooting occurred around 4:45 this morning up in the 14th floor hallway. Residents on the 14th floor tell me they heard a single gunshot. The victim, a man about 20 years old, was found in the hallway. He'd been shot in the head.
It was December 16th, 2022, at approximately 4:40 in the morning, when SK was shot once in the head outside his family's 14th floor apartment on Lawrence Avenue East near Orton Park Road. He was rushed to hospital but died a few days later from his injuries. Early in the investigation, police discovered that his phone showed communication in the hours leading up to the shooting with 18-year-old Brianna Warner. She quickly emerged as a person of interest, But
She was only 18 at the time when she did the killing. And I'm saying this not allegedly because she's been convicted already.
Investigators were not yet ready to lay a charge. The break in the case came 2 months later, on February 19, 2023, when Warner was arrested alongside 23-year-old Mr. Garcia Realtor after a dangerous police chase through downtown Toronto. At the time, Garcia Realtor was already bound by a strict 2020 release order requiring him to remain at his residence unless accompanied by one of his sureties and forbidding him from possessing any weapons. Nevertheless, on the morning of February 19th, he was driving a blue Mercedes with Brianna Warner as the sole passenger. When a Toronto police officer attempted a traffic stop for a missing front license plate, Garcia Realtor briefly complied, then suddenly executed a U-turn and accelerated eastbound on King Street West at high speed. The vehicle sped through a red light, nearly collided with another car, lost control, and crashed into a bike rack before finally coming to a stop. Both Garcia Realtor and Warner fled on foot, Warner carrying a blue cloth bag. CCTV captured both holding the bag at various points as they ran through nearby streets. Officers located the pair minutes later and arrested them after a brief foot pursuit. A search uncovered a loaded Glock 26 down Garcia Realtor's pant leg, modified with a switch making it fully automatic, along with a 32-round magazine, all prohibited under the criminal code.
So this is a hole in the story that I got to find out from watching this video. Okay, this is why I fuck with Six Tails crazy, because like the story that I had is she met the undercover, and this is even from my interview with the juror, that she met the undercover through communications online, through Snapchat and different things like that, and from there, I guess because she was selling online goods and stuff like that, they were able to connect. She met the undercover in jail, because she ended up getting locked up after being in a high-speed chase. All right? Keep in mind, this is a girl who caught a body.
The blue bag the pair had carried contained drug paraphernalia, 55 oxycodone pills, a loaded 9mm magazine, marijuana, an iPhone, and personal items belonging to Warner.
This is all stuff that she had after post-catching a body.
Subsequent search warrant executed on the Mercedes uncovered another bag containing roughly $33,000 in cash, and in the trunk, 165 grams of powdered cocaine along with digital scales. Garcia Realtor later admitted the cocaine was possessed for the purpose of trafficking. For investigators, the arrest created an unexpected opening. Warner, now locked up on unrelated gun and drug charges, was isolated and suddenly accessible. Detectives placed 2 undercover officers, including one using the alias TJ, into her holding cell, posing as newly arrested suspects. Neither officer was given any details about the homicide and were instructed not to bring it up. Their role was simply to build trust. TJ, working off a cover story about being caught in a raid at a boyfriend's apartment, quickly connected with Warner.
Nasty work, but nasty good police work, I guess you would call that. I'm just saying nasty work because that's a sick one right there. Yo, I got into a police raid with my boyfriend. I can't believe I'm here. She gets this girl comfortable, or this girl right over here comfortable. Like, yeah, I'm in here too. Me and my boyfriend got into a high-speed car chase. Oh, let's be friends. Ha ha. They're probably on range, laughing it up, trauma bonding. And you're trauma bonding with an undercover, bro. Holy. That has to be. Listen, I don't know if this is regular practice for these guys, because I'm just seeing this right now. As a man who's been on road, I never caught no bodies, so I didn't have to have, undercovers being put on me to find out me, hear me say something crazy. So this is just some movie, bro.
Almost immediately, Warner began opening up about her life, her relationships, and how she claimed she'd been making a band a day selling tasers and pepper spray online before her Kijiji account was shut down. She gave both officers her Instagram handle to stay in touch after release.
She was the taser plug, bro? Jeez.
And TJ, staying fully in character, told Warner she worked events and could help her line up a high-paying job. As the conversations continued, Warner gravitated toward TJ far more than the second undercover officer. she shared increasingly personal claims, including telling the officers she was pregnant by a wealthy 25-year-old Nigerian man whom she alleged had her and given her an STD. One
Mosh up. That cleared up another thing that I was wondering, because there was something that was floating around on Reddit. Okay, that are saying that this Brianna Warner woman was pregnant. And I was like, that's crazy. With whose kid? Warner. Let's see if I could find it. Prega. All right, here's one from 26 days ago. Let me find this one. Let me go back to the other one here.
2023.
Oh, this Ute here. Fine.
Admitted of causing the unalivement of J. Parker Ford by pew-pewing him in the head. Miss Warner, 18, and pregnant. Whoa. Hold on. Wait.
Yes. So basically what he said. Let's get back to the other video before my stomach starts. Like, bro, I'm starting to get over my flu, man. Holy shit.
Warner also claimed she was using the man for money, said she had plans to rob him with Garcia Realtor, and told them she intended to abort the pregnancy afterward. At the same time, she admitted she was only keeping the pregnancy because it gave her special treatment while in custody. TJ's handler later testified that despite being the less experienced operative, TJ had clearly built the strongest rapport. At one point, Warner even braided TJ's hair inside the cell, a moment investigators viewed as a clear sign that trust had been established.
Ooh, got her. Got her. All right. Let me braid your hair for you. Got her. That is crazy. That is the long game personified right there.
When Warner was transferred to the Lindsay jail, TJ stayed in contact through phone calls and visits. Warner confided that she didn't really have any friends, and as far as TJ knew, no one besides her and Warner's mother ever came to see her. Warner referred to TJ as a good friend, deepening exactly the level of trust investigators needed to move the operation forward. By early April 2023...
So she was visiting her even when she touched road. Because imagine, this girl's going to get transferred, and then she's just going to go back to her house. That's the crazy part about it. Like, this girl, okay, you got sent in, so we'll send you over to Lindsay. Okay, they're sending her over to Lindsay. You can go home now. You and the other officer that we planted in the jail, you guys can go home now. Holy shit, bro. Imagine, like, 2 inmates just all of a sudden, they just disappear. What about the other inmates in there? They're not wondering what happened to them 2 girls. They probably, you know what? I'm sure they already thought ahead. Okay? They had a exit plan. I'm going to be getting out in this amount of months. My lawyer did their thing in the courtroom. Guess what? I'm going home. Bye, girls. And they were out of there. Nobody even knew that any of them girls are undercovers. To this day, because the person's identity hasn't been revealed, the only way that they can figure out who this TJ person is to this day is by a description. Unless Brianna has pictures, which I'm sure she doesn't have any in her possession, she has to describe, oh, she's probably like, yo, she light skin and whatever. Who knows? I don't even know what this girl looks like, okay? But she has to describe what TJ looks like, because nobody's going to find out, fam. They'll plant TJ in another jail in another day, and she'll run that same play again, bro. Holy. You guys think you're smart when you're out there freaking thugging and bugging.
Police had secured judicial authorization to start recording TJ's conversations with Warner. On April 6th, TJ drove Warner's mother to the jail to pick her up after bail was
salute to Shade in the 6th. Her mom does definitely know. Her mom probably could like point her out, like, yo, that's the undercover girl. But I don't know if they'll be allowed to get any pictures, yo. Because if they're smart, I wouldn't allow myself to be in a picture with Brianna. I'd be like, yo, fam, like, yo, you know, shit is, you know, it's hot. It's hot out there, fam. Can't take no pictures. It's hot. Big salute to Reich for, I can't read the name here, brother. But salute to you there, brother. I know who it is. Gets the main. All right. Salute to you. And salute to Neil Davis popping up in the chat right there. Down to Earth says yes, and yes now, and definitely will be adding 2026 to old talent to his arsenal's acting. Oh, you're talking about the Drake stuff. Let's get back to the video over here.
Granted. On the drive back to Scarborough, The Wire captured a heated argument between Warner and her mother. At one point, Warner snapped, "Mom, remember when you asked me who shot that guy in the head? I did that. I have anger issues, so leave me the fuck alone." At the end of the full 4-hour recording, TJ reassured Warner that she was glad she was out and promised to be there for her, and Warner replied, "Love you." After that, TJ's objective changed.
She got this girl's trust so crazy.
She was instructed to keep the friendship going, and if the subject of the shooting didn't come up naturally, to gently bring it up and see whether Warner would provide more detail. The very next day, April 7th, TJ went to Warner's home with small gifts, Fiji water for Warner and Easter chocolates for the younger siblings. A surveillance team stayed close by, and TJ was given safety words to trigger an emergency extraction if needed. Once TJ and Warner were alone in the bedroom, they talked about Warner's art, her plan.
See, this is where I guess some people might be like, yo, is this guy one of the boy them? Because those are some very, very deep details. But he might have been able to pull up the transcript from everything from the court. You know what I'm saying? If you pay the right money, you can get all that shit.
Plans to become an esthetician, boyfriends, her time in jail, and everyday things like makeup and nails. Then TJ shifted the conversation, asking what Warner had meant by what she said in the car the day before. Through bursts of laughter, Warner began laying out the details. She told TJ the name of the victim, when and where it happened, and said she used an ex-boyfriend's gun. She told the undercover that SK had messaged her to meet up, believing they were going to have some kind of sexual encounter in the staircase of his building. But according to her own account, when they met up and stepped out of the elevator in his Lawrence Avenue East apartment building, Brianna pulled out a gun and shot him in the back of the head. She said it took only one bullet, adding that she didn't want to waste any. During the same conversation,
she didn't want to waste any, this girl said. It's cold-blooded.
She also claimed that one of her exes had previously shot at Orton Park rapper Aveboy DQ in a separate incident, saying she sat in a car and watched while DQ ran for his life. In an exclusive interview,
Mud. Okay, so she's been, and this is us, we speculated about this on the podcast before, like, yo, her ex and her had something going on with on the streets. Obviously, they had something going on together, but I'm saying on the streets. Like they were on some Bonnie and Clyde type shit. Because one, they got into a high-speed car chase together, and she ended up getting locked up because of that. She's talking about being on drills with a nigga where he's shooting at his ops and having these niggas running and shit, and she's watching the whole thing, including R.I.P. Dope Boy DQ, but like with one of the incidents with DQ. So it's like, whoa, she's outside, yo. She's, you know how they say I'm involved. Like she want to be involved, yo.
With Toronto-based podcast We Love Hip Hop, a juror from the Brianna Warner case revealed that during the undercover recordings, Brianna began singing lyrics from Rebound, a diss track by SK and Dope Boy DQ.
Listen, in my DMs, but don't wanna meet your bro got touched cause he thought it was sweet. We don't do no internet beef, my dogs pull up, leave him on the street. And we always keep it discreet. Don't talk, let the street speak. For all of the options peak, but a new pack dropped just last week.
She allegedly told TJ that the bars in the song were all fake, insisting that the shootings and bodies referenced had nothing to do with them. She contrasted that with her own music, claiming she was the real rapper and that her songs were based on actual events. She then pulled up news articles about SK's murder and told TJ she had written a track called Brain Dead describing what she had done, treating the killing as inspiration.
This is the epitome of doing too much. Like, you like that girl way too much, fam. Like, you're telling her about a whole M, fam.
Rather than a tragedy. At one point, she said she was happy after the shooting, even though he didn't die immediately. In parts of the recording, the jury
Like,
never...
no, I'm sorry to keep on stopping the video, but like, are you telling your new friend about an M? Like, for real, for real. Far less more than one of your old friends. Like one of your longtime brethrens. Like, yo, you're just telling them like, yo, guess what? I caught that body the other day. Like, nah, B. You might need to keep that shit to yourself. Like, you're old school from time, G. That homie might not be able to hold you down neither. So some girl that you met in jail while, you know, just a few months after you were, maybe 6 months tops after you did the thing, you're telling her, yeah, you know, I caught this body. It was me, fam. And I wrote a rap about it. Like, you're stupid, fam. People are gonna be like, yo, fam, yo, chill. You're dumb, fam. I know you're young, but you're stupid, bro. You're not supposed to catch bodies anyway. But if you're out there catching them, you shouldn't be telling anybody about it. Like, yo, this is my new friend. Yo, guess what? Holy. Go talk about something else, fam. Find some other conversation about, yo, I caught a body. Yo, I hit him. I didn't want to waste any bullets. Like, a whole damn idiot.
Heard, Warner went even further. She told TJ that before this incident she was only gang affiliated, but now she was literally a gang member because she had taken someone's life. She also spoke casually about wanting to kill another person in the future.
That right there too. There's deeper implications right there because it's like, fam, that might have been an initiation for her. Like, yo, you've been on some of these drills, you've seen how to man them get down. All right. Go catch a body. We can't trust you unless you actually go catch one yourself. So maybe that's what she did. This was her affiliation, her initiation, I mean. Damn. Oof. What's this comment here? What I'm saying? Line up ghetto things on here like always. A lie, big man. She's not even a lineup thing, fam. She's not a setup thing. She's the one who did the drill. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying the setup things are any better, but like they don't got the heart to actually pull the trigger. So they'll go and, you know, suck some dick, do whatever they need to do, and get that nigga comfortable and be in the room so that the man them can go do the dirt work. But she's like, nah, B, them niggas ain't real. I'm the real one. Like, she wanted to be the biggest driller in the scene and be a rapper about it. In my interview with the juror, he says that she went to other producers with her raps like, yo, I need a beat for this. Yo, the raps are real. It's about real shit. The raps are garbage, but in her mind, because it actually happened, she thinks that the producers that she's letting this producers hear these songs or these bars, they're going to be like, yo, I rate you still. Let me give you a hot beat for that. This is a super idiot thing, dog. It might be to the point where she might have some mental issues. Obviously, she has mental issues, but I mean, like she might be a little slow, fam.
Treating the conversation like it was something she was proud of, rather than something she feared. During that same unplayed portion of the recording, Warner brought up her past with SK, claiming that
developmental challenges.
that when she was 12 and he was 14, he had taken advantage of her sexually and said the shooting was her moment to take advantage of him in return. She presented this as part of her reasoning to TJ, even though no evidence supporting that allegation was ever presented in court. The tone of these comments, mixed with laughter and a lack of remorse, stood in stark contrast to the seriousness of the crime and became one of the most disturbing elements of the undercover recordings.
It's the laughter. She's just like, whatever. These guys ain't real. I'm the real shit. Like, you might be developmentally. I can't even say the words today, but her development is challenged. Is basically what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't be completely full frontal cortex working to be like, yo, that's what's lit, fam. Yo, I'm the one who really caught the bodies. Yo, these guys are not real. Like, nah, bro. You're slowing the brain right now, fam. These are not the things that you need to be thinking about. Okay? And it's not just her. A lot of the them, you guys are slowing the brain. The wheels are not turning at the same speed as the rest of us because you can't be insane. You can't have a sane mind or a fully developed mind that's like, yeah, that's what we need to do. Yo, I caught the body and I need to let somebody know about it on my raps. Right? Delayed learning. Like, all of those things fit. Y'all niggas is short bus. Holy.
The visit, Warner took a phone call from a jailed man who began questioning TJ about where she was from. And while Warner was briefly out of the room, TJ quickly snapped a photo of the handwritten brain-dead lyrics lying on the bed.
With guns.
The next day, Brianna Warner was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. For Toronto police, it was the culmination of a months-long operation that began with a cell block introduction and ended with a detailed confession on tape. But for the streets, Warner's arrest didn't mark the end of the conversation. It opened the door to a much larger narrative, one tied to a long-standing gang war in Scarborough. In the east end of Toronto sits the sprawling borough of Scarborough, home to dozens of neighborhoods shaped by years of social struggle, underfunding, and community resilience. Within it are Malvern and Orton Park, two different blocks with distinct identities, yet histories that mirror each other in ways that would eventually fuel one of the city's most talked about gang conflicts. The 44 movement is a crew that traces its
and they're not even that close to each other, to be honest, fam.
Roots to young men from several Scarborough neighborhoods, primarily Glendower and Malvern. The name 44 was adopted in honor of Glendower resident Kareem Deer, known as Remy, whose favorite number was 44. On September 23, 2016, Remy was stabbed to death by an Orton Park affiliate inside the Scarborough Town Center subway station at just 15 years old.
Hold on,
His
I got
death became a
this comment right here. I can't say your name on camera, but you know what your name is. Salute to you. It says Friday. You know damn well no one's gonna buy the music if it ain't talking about murder. That ain't true, fam. There's a lot of capping ass rappers out here who talk about, oh, I sell the most drugs and catch the bodies and I'll slap you in the face if you try to run from my chain and all that. And it just sounds hot and it don't be true. These idiots are taking true shit and they're like, nah, bro, I shot you right in the head and then you twitched and then you fell on the left side of your body on the carpet. Like, no, you're freaking retard, bro. I'm sorry. Like, you're not talented. You're just dumb. The talented person knows how to make a metaphor about some like crazy, gruesome shit and still make it sound fly. And not have one body under their belt. Jay-Z ain't got no bodies and got the sickest catalog. Talk about put it on the red light and all the different type of guns. He's talking about 44 Desert Eagles, all type of shit. Jay-Z ain't got no bodies. I love all his raps. These idiots want to have a body for us to respect them, and their raps are garbage. So it's like, what are you even doing it for? You're trying to catch the body so we could believe you? Make better music, and we'll believe you anyway, or not believe you, like Rick Ross. We know Rick Ross is a freaking was a corrections officer. I still listen to his music after that shit, because the shit was hot. I know you lying, but just make it sound hot on the beat, nigga. These guys who are actually talking about real crimes, they're not even good. So then what's the point?
Defining loss for the neighborhood, and the 44 Remy gang was created in his honor, carrying his name forward as a symbol of loyalty and remembrance. Their biggest ops are Orton Park, Dolly Varden, and Regent Park. SK and Brianna Warner are from Orton Park, also known as 54, a name taken from the Lawrence Avenue East bus route that cuts through the towers and townhouse complexes near Orton Park and Lawrence Avenue East. The crews in this neighborhood, such as the Orton Park Bloods, developed its own identity under many of the same pressures shaping Malvern. It's unknown where exactly the beef between these two blocks started.
And I know mans get cheesed when they might see this, like, but like a lot of these guys, their raps weren't like that good. Like they might have been real, and doesn't mean that they didn't have good songs, but their raps are not that good. They're very ABC. Shoot you with the gat. You know what I'm saying? Might kill your cat. Like just real basic shit. So it's like, why are you guys putting your neck on the line for like okay raps? Like, come on, B.
But what is known is that over time, tensions hardened into open hostility, a rivalry that eventually spilled into music. Diss tracks became a secondary battlefield where coded insults and street references carried real-world consequences. One of the most talked about examples was Rebound by SK and fellow Orton Park rapper Dope Boy DQ, a track that took multiple shots at the 44 movement. The back and forth only escalated after DQ was killed, shot by 44 member LB, an incident that intensified the hostility between both sides. Following his death, diss tracks grew even more aggressive. In Let's Play a Game Part 2, 44 rapper Sav directly references DQ's killing, alluding to the moment he was shot in his vehicle before crashing into a tree.
This bed not comfy, made out of dirt. Let's play a game called Who's Living Worse. Last vehicle I was in was a black truck. Last vehicle he was in was a hearse. Just after the doctor said that I'm good, but the last one died, he ain't seeing the nurse. He got hit in his head and his skull exploded. Whole shit, some got left on the curb. Not the kid. I'd say it again because kids don't learn.
Since then,
the thing is, Sav's good. But that was gruesome, bro. It's just unnecessary, man. Because it's not that it's like, yo, your rapper. Example of somebody who can rap. It's not that the rap is bad, but what you're saying is too descriptive, bro. Like you don't need to get into that much detail. Turn it into a metaphor. Like his head was like tomato sauce or some shit, man. You don't have to be like, yo, I seen him and like, yo, the way he was twitching and like it was like, bro, it's like, fam, like I actually could see what you're talking about, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you're being way too descriptive.
Things only escalated, especially after SK's death. 44 rapper KS Bands released a track called Mrs. Backdoor shortly after, and in the song he raps,
"You thought the shit was love, she gave the job to where you hide."
A line widely interpreted as confirming that SK had been set up by a girl. The reference only fueled the ongoing speculation online, reinforcing the belief that his killing wasn't random, but the result of someone he trusted giving up his location. But as the music amplified the street narrative, the courtroom began revealing a very different story, one grounded not in rap politics or neighborhood rivalries, but in Brianna Warner's own personal motives. When the trial started, the rumors flying around online finally started getting shut down, and people began calling out 44 for talking about bodies and tracks that had nothing to do with them. The evidence and recordings laid everything out, showing a clearer picture of why she...
Now they're dealing with a whole raid. The 44 gang was literally raided like 3 weeks ago. So even though Brianna is the one who is guilty for the murder of Aveboy SK, all them raps ain't gonna help anyway. Even if it's like what people were saying, yo, it's rap cap. Them guys they were capping, they ain't catch that body. That was the girl. It's still not gonna help. Man, it's like it's frustrating, fam. It's like niggas love jail.
he went after SK in the first place. As the details came out in court, the whole situation hit way harder, exposing the real weight behind what happened. Inside the courtroom, the secret recordings with TJ became the centerpiece of the Crown's case, but both sides fought over how they should be interpreted. Testifying behind a screen, TJ told the jury that she first met Warner in February 2023, that she knew Warner was a person of interest in a homicide, and that her task was to build rapport. She explained how their conversations moved from casual topics like hair, nails, and relationships to more serious admissions once Warner trusted her. The jury heard the car recording from April 6th, where Warner told her mother she was the one who, quote unquote, shot that guy in the head. They also heard the bedroom recording from April 7th, where Warner described using one bullet, shooting SK in the back of the head, and later writing brain dead about the killing. In his closing statement, Crown Attorney Rob Fry told jurors that even if they were to disregard every other piece of evidence in the case, the recordings alone were enough to prove Warner's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, describing the details in those conversations as accurate and consistent with what happened. He said that for more than 2 years Warner had enjoyed the presumption of innocence, and that it was now time to hold her accountable. Fried also suggested that Warner may have believed nobody would suspect a small 18-year-old woman of pulling this off on her own, and that she nearly succeeded until police invented TJ. The defense saw things very differently. Warner's lawyer, Katie Scott, told the jury that what they heard on the tapes was not a genuine confession, but a story made up by an 18-year-old looking for validation. She argued
just with a bunch of details about somebody who actually died. But keep going.
That many of the key facts Warner mentioned, such as the victim's name, location, and timing, were already public knowledge by the time of the April 7th recording. Scott said other parts of Warner's story didn't line up with the evidence. Warner told TJ that SK never made a sound after being shot, but Jai's brother and the first officer on scene both testified that they heard him loudly moaning in the hallway after the gunshot. Warner also claimed that after leaving, she returned to check his pockets to see if he had a gun. Scott pointed out that SK's brother did not hear anyone else in the hallway and that paramedics had difficulty moving SK because of his weight and the way he had fallen. If Warner had searched his pockets, Scott argued, his white hoodie likely would have been visibly dirted, yet there was no evidence of that. She also noted that TJ never asked Warner for basic specifics like what floor the shooting happened on, what each person was wearing, how Warner got in or out of the building, or what she did with the gun afterward. To the defense, this was not a careful, detailed confession. It was a loose narrative full of gaps and inconsistencies.
I ain't mad at that, because if she didn't have the written confession, they might have been able to use some of that to help in her case.
Also tried to reframe the writings found in Warner's bedroom, including the brain-dead lyrics and another piece labeled Aveboy SK Jai Parker Forward, which began with the line, SK got his dome pierced.
Oh my God.
She said these were examples of artistic self-expression, not literal evidence of guilt, and reminded the jury that SK's own
So why you put his name on it then? That's like, there's only so much you could do as the defense. Like, your client is dumb.
Had testified that SK's lyrics referenced murder, guns, and drugs even though he wasn't actually living that lifestyle. In that sense, Scott argued, Warner was doing what many young people in their world did, borrowing violent imagery for effect. She emphasized that people sometimes falsely confess, even to serious crimes, and suggested Warner had constructed a persona in front of someone she believed was a close friend. The defense argued that the police operation, with an undercover officer cultivating a lonely teenager's trust from a holding cell to her home, amounted to interrogation by subterfuge. Despite these arguments, Justice Alfred O'Mara ultimately rejected the bid to exclude the recordings. He ruled,
that's some Hail Mary accusations right there from the defense. That's, what do they call it? The testimony by or confession by subterfuge? Like, come on, B. You cultivated her mind, you G-roomed her into giving this confession. Like, get out of here, B.
That Warner had not been interrogated in the legal sense, that TJ's questions were broad, and that Warner chose on her own to connect them to the homicide. In his view, Warner spoke about the killing in an almost gleeful manner and appeared to want others to know what she claimed to have done, even going so far as to write rap lyrics about it. With the recordings admitted, the jury was left to decide whether Warner was telling the truth.
Okay, and you guys know the end. She got convicted, 25 years.
Set in. She didn't cry, speak, or break down. The redness in her face was the only visible sign that the verdict had impacted her at all.
All right. So RIP to Aveboy SK. Crazy case here. I just wanted to react to this video because of the fact that there's so many holes in the story that I didn't even know that were there. Okay. I thought I found out everything I needed to know from speaking to this juror for like an hour and a half, him giving me inside court testimony and all types of shit. And I thought, okay, we got everything we need. But Six Tails strikes again, always with the extra research. So make sure to go check out his videos over on his channel. Any video that he drops, you know that he's going to make sure that the research is done. All right. So big salute to Six Tails for this video. And once again, RIP to Aveboy SK and condolences to his family.
We love hip hop.
If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out these other videos on the screen and make sure to like and subscribe.
We love hip hop.